Hite, astrologer, tarot master, spellcaster, life coach, and all around magical being. And I'm here today to talk about May. The merry month of May is at last here. So it's going to be an interesting month. It's a month of bounty. It's a month of certainty. It's a month of doubt. It's a month of contradictions. Most of all, though, it's a month to really see and decide what path we're going to be on for the rest of the year. May 1st especially is a very big day in many cultures, many religions, and also to labor unions. May 1st is the workers' day. May 1st is the time of the acknowledgement of all that we've done to produce the bountiful crop that appears to be growing in our lives, whether that's a crop that's actually plants or that's a crop of ideas that you've had and you've been working with and working on. Whatever your project is, the merry month of May and the energy of the merry month of May help us to determine whether or not that project is viable and help us to determine what needs to be done to make it viable. So let us begin. It is May 1st, and today on May 1st, the planet Mercury, which rules communication, information, rules also roadways. It rules plans. That is together conjunct with the planet Uranus. And Uranus rules unique, divine insight, also weird. Uranus rules genius, also insanity. And so Mercury, the way we think, the way we communicate, the way we go, is together with anything can happen, Uranus. So this is actually a great day and a time. And it's not just today that it's happening. It started building up a few days ago, and this is going to be the flavor of the month. And so even though now this next few days is very concentrated, it's going to be the aroma light. It gets lighter as the month goes on, but the aroma of the month. What genius idea do you have? Now might be a time to not only write it down, but begin doing research. Let's see what we can do to make this idea manifest into something, period. What can we do? The something of thought is fantastic. Now, how about the something of something material? Mercury conjunct Uranus is really very fortunate because Uranus is like the professor, and Mercury is like the student. And Mercury and Uranus come together in this conjunction. They come together where the professor is giving constant advice to the student. That is to say, that it's a very insightful time, it's a very intuitive time, and you will know how to do the research you need to do. You're going to find information from all sorts of unusual places. You're going to process information differently. And it will be almost like perhaps the higher power is speaking to you. It's going to be an interesting time. As I said, it's today, but it also moves on through several days. The idea of being in a divine space with your ideas is going to be a very, very important, it's going to be an important thing for you to work with and an important thing for you to manifest the results of. Now, on May 4th, heavy Mercury emphasis already, May 4th, and all the way through to about May 6th or 7th, Mercury is again prominent. Only this time it meets up with the Sun. Sun is in Gemini, or rather, the Sun is in Taurus, and it meets up with Venus and Neptune. Now, when I say it meets up with the Taurus Sun, that's great. Mercury is together conjunct the Sun. When Mercury is conjunct the Sun, that means that the energy, the life force, the power of the Sun gives its support to whatever you think. That doesn't mean that you're always going to be right. That does mean, however, you're going to think you're right. And sometimes you're going to know you're right, even if you're insisting that the sun rises in the west and sets in the east. You're really going to put all of you behind it. So, I caution here, when you have an idea, especially at this time, let's ask and see if it's really a viable idea. Will this idea contribute to my well being as well as the well being of my community? Because what comes up for you, if you back it with the energy of the sun of your life, you're going to go all in. Now, do you need to go all in on something that really has validity or something that just sort of flitted through your mind and you grabbed onto? There's a bit of a responsibility with this conjunction of the sun, your life force, together with Mercury, the way you think. There's definitely a responsibility. So heed that responsibility and make sure that what you're backing has validity in your world. We also have, as I said before, Venus square Neptune. Now, what does that mean? That's astrology talk for the planet of balance, the planet of emotions, the planet of creativity, the planet of value, especially self value, is in an abrasive relationship with Neptune, the planet of spirit, the planet of the soul, the planet of the fog, the planet of confusion. So, what you feel may not be what you feel. Now, remember, you've got Mercury. And Mercury is telling you anything can happen. It's conjunct Uranus. Mercury is also telling you you're right. It's conjunct the sun. And then we're dealing with that same group of energy, that same combination of energies. And it's telling you that what you think you feel may not be real. It may be, but it may not. So, how do you deal with this? Because this is a time for the next week of great insights, great inspirations of divine knowing. But how do you know it's really real? How do you know it has value? Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to ask yourself, does this have value? Are there three things that will confirm this? You have to get really, really, I'd say, down to earth with how you deal with this square, this Venus square Neptune. This is not a time to fall madly in love with someone or something and decide this is it for life. Because once this square passes, this square is going to be here for a while, but once it passes, whatever it is that you voted for, you are stuck with. You may not be stuck with the thing, but you're stuck with the results of having voted for the thing. And many cases in point are showing up in our lives. So you want to take a look and say, what do I truly value? What has real meaning for me? And what do I need to do to be honest with myself? I'll repeat that. What do I need to do to be honest with myself and tell myself the truth about the true value of this feeling or of this thought or of this decision to go in a certain direction? What do I need to do? One, you need to check 3 times. You need 3 independent sources. Because if you don't consult those 3 independent sources, and that doesn't mean you have to call a lawyer, that means you have to have a way of checking the validity in 3 different ways or places in your life. The Venus square Neptune it's said that it's very confusing. Well, that's putting it mildly, because Venus is I want, and Neptune is illusion. It's many things, but in this case, with the square, it's mostly going to operate on illusion. And that's the gas that's really fueling whatever vehicle you're moving through the world in. Is it the vehicle of love? Well, confusion and not really being clear might be a case. Is it the vehicle of your aims and your inspirations? Well, it could be that you're on the right track, but maybe not. Check it 3 times. If you met the one, let's take some time. Let's not make any decisions until the end of June as to whether or not the one is truly the one. If you've met something, that is to say, you've met an idea, an inspiration, this is it. Let's be careful before you invest your reputation, your savings, your time, and your energy wholeheartedly into this thing. This doesn't mean you can't play with it, because Neptune and Venus have a lot to do with intuition. But you have to listen to your intuition. And that intuition, because Neptune is like the fog, that intuition can change, can shift. So you need to listen to your intuition and see if it's giving you the same information it was giving you a few minutes, a couple of days ago. It's a great time to be in touch with spirit. But is it spirit, or is it something that just sort of floated in on the fog and is going to float out again? Always you have to check. It's a very ethereal time. It's great for creativity. It's great for play. However, please be aware that it's great for deception. So don't allow yourself to be deceived by the fog. Now then, um, May 7th, we have the full moon in Scorpio. And this full moon is one of my favorite, actually, it's my favorite full moon, along with the full moon in Taurus 6 months later. These are my two favorite full moons. Why? Because these are full moons of passion, of intimacy, of interaction on a truthful level, of the possibility of anything happening. And the anything happening is going to be really impactful and of great value to me. I love those two moons because they're deep and great things happen with them. So during this full moon on the 7th, make sure, of course, that you make moon water. So 3 days before the 7th, the 4th, 5th, 6th, 3 days after, the 8th, 9th, 10th. That's the arc of the full moon energy. That arc on one of those days, even if you save it until the day of or even the day after, take a glass or a cup of water and set it in the windowsill, or put it in a container, covered, of course, and set it outside to get the rays of the moon. And this passionate, creative, intense full moon, wow, the moon water made from that, that's going to be pretty wonderful. I'm looking forward to that. And you can always sip from it. You can pour it into whatever you're cooking. You can, I have a friend who makes a huge pitcher of it and pours it into his bath water. Fabulous. Because you're allowing the energy and the rays of this most intense and most intuitive planet to move through you. The moon rules us in so many ways, our emotions, our sense of well being. And to take the waters of that energy within is to really, you're getting not only the energy of the moon rays from outside, but you're also getting the energy of the moon water as it moves inside you. It's an excellent time. It's a time for really heart to heart communication, not only with other people, but with yourself. Who are you really? Scorpio demands honesty. So this full moon in Scorpio is going to say to you, what am I about? What am I really committed to? What is really true for me? What will move me forward in the best and most bountiful way? This is the time to ask if the people around you are really for you. This is the time to ask if you have chosen the right community for yourself. If you have, celebrate that. If you haven't, it's a time to begin looking and saying, what kind of community do I need? What do I need to be intimate with? Who do I need to have my arms around? Who do I need to be embracing? And then get busy embracing that community, embracing that new way of being. On May 11th, Mercury, the planet of communication, leaves the sign of Taurus, an earth sign. Mercury is about moving through the universe really quickly. And it's when it was in Taurus, when it still is until the 11th, it moves more slowly than is comfortable for Mercury. But when Mercury on the 11th of May goes into its own sign of Gemini, Mercury rules Gemini, it's free, it can move, it can really advance itself. This is going to be a great time. This is a time to not only learn and take on new ideas, this is a time to communicate, this is a time to move in a fluid manner, to really speak to the people who can help you, to gather your tribe in a sense. This is a time to really begin to trust that what you're thinking has merit. This is a time to be open because the god Mercury, the god of communication, is sending you all kinds of phenomenal, fabulous ideas, thoughts, information. This is a great time to start looking at doing research because Mercury is in its own sign. And Mercury and Gemini love information. They love discovering new information. So research, research, research. Then on May 13th, the planet Venus, Venus rules value, especially self-value. It rules baubles, jewelry. It rules money. It rules balance. It rules relationships. This is an excellent time to watch Venus do something it does every once in a while, only once in a while, and that is go retrograde. When Venus is retrograde, it's a time to examine what you value, time to examine yourself. And it'll be there for a while, for a few weeks. So with Venus going retrograde, you really do need to pay attention to, as I said before, what is valuable to you, to who is valuable to you, to how you've been spending your precious energy, how you've been spending your time. And also, really important, it's a time for you to look and say, what is of real value to me down here on the ground? That is to say, in my material life. What is of real value to me? We have for so many years been acquiring anything, everything. We've got TV shopping networks, we've got the internet, we've got catalogs coming into our mailbox. Wait a minute. Do we really need that? And I don't mean need as in, oh, I really need it and I like it and I want it. I mean, is this of value to me? How will my life be different or be diminished if I don't get this thing? What do I really need to be turning my need attention to in order to promote, I'd say, to promote a more valuable and a more long lasting life for me, and life for the things that are important to me. So when Venus does go retrograde, start asking yourself, this is a good time to sort through things because Venus makes three passes over a point. It has to come up to the retrograde point, then it goes back over some territory it covered, and then it comes back with a new awareness. Use that time. It's already come over important points. It's now going to, by the 13th, it's going to be here, and it's going to go back over those points. Take a good look. What is of value? And then once you've made some decisions and you're in the decision-making mode, it's going to come back for the third time, and it's going to ask you to get rid of what isn't of value and to embrace what is. Excellent. It is not a good time to make big purchases. Please don't make big purchases. Save buying that house for later. Save buying that car for later. And above all, this is not a time to buy jewelry, not a time to buy purses. Venus rules purses. Interesting. So, what you want to do at this time is you want to reflect, you want to learn the true value of something, you want, including yourself, and you want to treat that true value with dignity and with grace. On May 13th, Mars, there's another biggie that happens. Mars, the planet of how we take action, enters the sign of Pisces. Now, Mars is, yeah, let's go for it. And Pisces is kind of dreamy. So let's go for it and kind of dreamy. There might be a bit of a conflict there. So when Mars enters the sign of Pisces, you may think you're going where you intend to go, but Pisces is ruled by Neptune, which is haze and confusion. So you may not be going where you think you intend to go. This is not a time to drive fast. And I know I like to drive fast. This is not a time to drive fast because you're going to be daydreaming a lot. So actually driving fast in your car or moving quickly through something, you're not really going to be fully engaged because you've got your ability to move, Mars, is, I'd say it's compromised by the energy of Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune. This is a time to let your intuition, which is a combination of here, of this, listening to this, your heart, of here and here. This is a time to let them direct you. This is not a time to say, you know what, I'm signing my check here and I'm paying for Don't do that. You need research. And it's interesting that this month begins with Mercury being wild and wacky and insisting that you be true to yourself by doing the correct and the deep research that you need to do. And this is excellent for that. Be very careful in your movements. Now, you will feel that you need to make a move. Examine that feeling. Is it grounded? If it's not, take it easy. Don't move so quickly. Then on May 20th, the sun enters Gemini. So we leave Taurus time and we enter Gemini time. This is going to be great because it's a lighter period. The energy will be lighter. I don't have to tell you that the energy's been pretty heavy. The energy will be lighter. Insights will come to you more quickly and doors will open more easily. So it's about interacting, it's about getting out there, it's about letting it be okay that you begin to cautiously move around the world, move around your life. It's not a time to just go full tilt, wow, I'm free, but let's move cautiously. And that goes along with what's going on as far as health concerns. The energy is lighter. There is more opportunity for direct, clear communication. Uh, Enjoy that opportunity and be clear with yourself. We then move to May 22nd, the new moon in Gemini. New moons are great. New moons are great because that's the seed you've planted. It's the newness of things. So the new moon in Gemini says, if you can think it, maybe you can do it. So where's your list? On the new moon in Gemini, say a couple of days before, in addition to setting out that cup of water so that you get the rays of this new moon or your moon water, start making a list. Say about the 17th or 18th of May. Start making a list of how you want the next 3 months to be. Maybe 6 to 10 things on this list. I want this. I want that. And it needs to begin with I want. I want is a powerful statement, and the universe hears that. So, what do you want? Please do not put on your list what you don't want, because then you're giving attention to, if you state, I don't want this anymore, then you're telling the universe, oh, I have attention here. I want you to pay attention to it. Say, I want, I want, I want. The universe will pay attention to that. This is an excellent time for things to actually begin to come to fruition, because with this new moon, you've got Mercury, the planet of thoughts and plans. You've got Saturn, the planet of stability and one of the planets of manifestation. You've got Jupiter, the planet of luck and expansion. And you've got Pluto, the planet of intense value, the value of the community. You've got Pluto, the planet of transformation and deep healing, all working together. So this new moon in Gemini brings a lot of presents that you're slowly going to unwrap as for the next 3 months. And you just need to make sure that the universe is presenting you with the presents you want. Make the list. May 28th, that's the last big aspect for May. And it's big. It is when Mercury, the planet Mercury, enters the sign of Cancer. So when Mercury is in Gemini, a lot of thought, a lot of thought, a lot of thought, because it's air, it's in its own realm. When Mercury goes into Cancer, it's feeling. And it's what you feel, it's how you feel, and it's what you do with what you feel. It's a very intuitive time, it's a very creative time. It's it's a time of clarity of purpose. This is a time when you can go within and say, this is what I want and what I want to do. What do I need to do to make sure I'm clear and to make sure I get the results I want? Clarity of purpose. That's what you need to be asking yourself with everything you approach from May 28th on, for certainly the next few weeks. Is this thing that I am approaching, is the way I'm approaching it, will this bring me what I want? Will this enhance my purpose? Clarity of purpose, very important. This is also when Mercury enters Cancer, it's it's an invitation to enact projects that will have long lasting results. This is a time to enact projects that will have long lasting results. This is a time to nurture those ideas you've had, and a time to nurture yourself, and a time to really give yourself proper credit for the hard work you've done and for the hard work you know you're going to do. And now, because of the hard work you've done, you're capable of doing the future hard work successfully. It's a great time to move forward. Mercury and Cancer. Cancer is your emotion. Cancer is your emotional and your spiritual foundation. So you'll be able to dig deep, not even to dig, but to drift to deep places, to drift slowly but surely to deep places within yourself, to let your intuition act as a miner's light down there while you're in there and find those nuggets that are pure and gold for you so that you can make something of them, so that your life can be the poetry it's meant to be. And that's it for the merry month of May. Have a great, wonderful, wondrous May. Be wild, be wacky, be certain, deal with the uncertainty with grace. Have fun. Enjoy spring.